Titans, Bitcoin is having a nice recovery today, and we're seeing a new consolidation pattern is forming now. So let's talk about that and what the potential price targets are for this new pattern. Kevwork, hit that intro. Let's kick it off with the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Just a quick note that although the name of this index would suggest that it's generally all crypto, the gauge primarily fluctuates based on the movement of Bitcoin. Today we are at 71, which represents greed, which is down from 79 yesterday, which represents extreme greed. So the recent correction we saw over the last 2 days appears to finally be reflected in this gauge now. Now let's move on to your daily reminder that the Bitcoin halving is in just 16 days. Also, note that the halving date is now currently estimated to be April 19th, but again, it's a moving date based on whenever the 210,000 blocks have been added to the Bitcoin blockchain. And for those of you who are new to crypto, this event marks the time in which the Bitcoin reward for the miners will get cut in half from about 6 Bitcoins to about 3 Bitcoins every time a block is successfully added to the Bitcoin blockchain. Moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. Just a quick reminder that this map tracks the short and long position liquidity for Bitcoin in areas that are either light or dark yellow. The yellow areas will either be above or below the current price action, which are the short and long positions respectively. So looking at the 1 week window, and I'm going to keep pointing this out because it's very important, there is still nearly $1 billion of liquidity building up above the current price action around 72K, meaning that the short positions continue to pile up high. And after having a couple of red days now, we've pretty much wiped out all liquidity below the current price action. Again, Bitcoin has a strong tendency to follow the liquidity. So if the buy pressure picks up quickly in the coming days, I would expect us to propel through 72K with a short squeeze. Now let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin ETF flow table. Just a quick reminder to anyone new to this table, we're tracking how much Bitcoin the institutions such as BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK Invest, etc. are buying to back their ETFs based on the millions of dollars they are spending per day against how much Bitcoin is being sold by Grayscale in millions of dollars as folks are switching out of Grayscale Bitcoin and into the ETFs. Yesterday, April 2nd, we had a positive total flow of $40.3 million with only $81.9 million flowing out of Grayscale. And surprisingly, we saw ARK Invest selling $87.5 million worth of Bitcoin. But as you can also see, BlackRock and Fidelity continue to be the leaders in buying this correction with $150.5 million and $44.8 million respectively. Guys, this is your reminder that we are only 50 days away from a decision to be made by the SEC for the first Ethereum spot ETF by May 23rd. Don't sleep on Ethereum because you know what happened to Bitcoin leading up to the approval of the spot ETFs back in January. All right, now let's hit the charts. All right, we're looking at Bitcoin on the 12-hour time frame, and as you can see here, when you apply the Fibonacci retracement from the local bottom here to the local high up here, the price literally retraced and closed in the 0.618, 0.65 Fibonacci golden pocket for this big red candle here. And now we're still seeing support in this area. Looking at the 12-hour time frame again, and you can also see this on other time frames, such as the daily time frame, for example. If you recall in yesterday's video, we mentioned that we broke through this previous supporting dotted trend line, but have since created this new supporting trend line in yellow. Based on this new supporting trend line, we can see that Bitcoin is still in a consolidation pattern at this time. And at some point, a decision will be made for either a breakout or a breakdown. So let's talk about that next. Now, depending on where the breakout or breakdown actually happens, we could potentially see a breakout price somewhere around 83.5K, which would align very well with the 1.272 Fibonacci target we mentioned in last week's video, as you can see here. Or if we see a breakdown, we could potentially be heading to around 52K, which would align well with these candles over here to the left. And just so you understand where these targets are coming from, I'm applying the measured height of this triangle here in orange to estimated areas where we could potentially see a big move happen. But again, we'll have to see where this big move will actually happen, and from there we'll have a much better idea for the true price target in either direction. And finally, I just want to point out that we're still finding support at around 65.5K in this 65.5K to 69K support zone, so that's looking positive right now. But again, the key here is to see us getting back above 69K before the weekly close, Otherwise, we'll likely continue going sideways or have a pullback before reattempting to get above 69K.
Titans, we are your one-stop source for guiding you through this Bitcoin bull run. Please join us as we continue to provide the latest market and technical analysis that are going to give you that edge.